Welcome everyone, Jared O'Leary here, and today I wanted to show you a video of some strategies for debugging in SonicPy. So I simulated what it would be like if you were just quickly typing out a lot of music in SonicPy before actually running any of it, and then when you hit run, you get an error. So in SonicPy, when you get an error, it will usually have a message at the bottom. Sometimes it's helpful, sometimes it's not super helpful, and an arrow pointing to what line it's on. So on here, it says that there is a syntax error, and if we were to translate this into something a little more readable, what it's telling us to do is that somewhere on here there needs to be a 0 before a decimal point. So if we look, we have a number before a decimal point, but on our amplitude here, we don't. So we need to make sure that whenever we're typing out stuff that we include those decimals. So now I'm going to run it again. And we're getting another syntax error. So it says expecting keyword end on line 18. And if we look at it, it's a little weird because we need to have paired do's with an end. So there's one do, there's another do, there's an end and an end. Okay, so we have two do's, two ends. So I don't think this line 18, that's the problem. So let's take a closer look. So we have use synth, and we're telling it what synthesizer we're going to use. And we also have that above. But can you spot the difference? So you'll notice that this has a space, and then a colon, but this has a colon and then a space. So this is actually the error right here. So even though it's trying to tell us, hey, we think it might be that there's supposed to be a keyword end, the problem right here is after use synth, you have to use space, colon, and then the name. So now let's try running it and see what it does. Okay, so now it's saying that we have another error on line 20. And on line 20, we've got an array, which is like a list of numbers. We're going to tell it to basically play a chord. And in it, it's actually supposed to have comma separations. So whenever you have a list of stuff that's all grouped together, you need to separate by commas to make sure that the computer knows that these are all separate things that we're going to play. So we run it, and we still have an error. So now it's saying that, hey, there's an end that we're expecting on line 25, but we don't have a line 25. So it's still saying that we're missing an end somewhere. So let's go back up and let's check out all of this. So we have a do, do, do. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 5 do's. And now let's count our ends. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so scanning through it, we're missing another end. So down here, we had already matched these do's, a do and an end, a do and an end. But up here, it looks like there's missing something. So what I wanted was a percussion loop that would do a bass drum 4 times and have some snaps in between each one of those bass drum notes. So we have an end for the snaps. So do, end. We have an end for our bass drum notes 4 times. But what we don't have is an end right here for our percussion loop, which I was going to add some more things into later. So now let's run it and see if it works. Awesome, so we finally run it. Now, this was just kind of like a simulated example of how to go about debugging with just some simple code that was going on. But whenever you're doing this and you run into an error, sometimes the pop-ups that give you a suggestion aren't always as helpful as you would like it to be, because it was telling us earlier that there needed to be an end, when really the issue with this part was the colon. So I'd recommend looking above your code to try and figure out maybe if there's something missing, or just looking at the line of code that is pointing out and see if perhaps you forgot something else that was going on. But debugging is a constant process that we're going through whenever we're coding stuff, so don't feel bad about it. Everyone I know who does any kind of coding at some point has to debug something, if not very frequently. So it happens. Just breathe when it happens and treat it as a challenge to see how quickly you could figure it out. But if you ever get stuck and you need to try and figure out more, just click on the help and follow through some more of the tutorials, or look at the language to see for specific uses of some of the stuff that you're trying out, like the play, and go through this and go, okay, maybe I messed up something, and look at the examples. But I hope this was helpful for you, and I hope you enjoy making music in Sonic Pi.